Hey guys, my name is Andrew. I'm going to be doing a quick little video about the personal finance course at WGU in the finance program. I don't know, you might have to take this if you're in accounting too, otherwise known as class D363. Basically, what I'm going to be going over is the things that I felt were important to study in this course and what I think helped me complete the course and pass my OA. So here I have everything listed out exactly. These are the things that I studied and the things that helped me personally. So uh, things you want to look at: insurance policies and coverage. That includes automotive and collision versus comprehensive. You got to know the difference. You got to know what covers what. If a car hits another car and the person doesn't have collision, it's going to ask you all these different questions about collision versus comprehensive. You also want to know about split limit coverage, the different coverage options. So, for example, 100, 250, 50, where 100 is the limit per person, 250 is the limit for everyone involved, and then 50 would be like the cost of property damage. You want to know everything about umbrella coverage and what that covers. You want to know what kind of coverage homeowners versus renters need. And here's some examples of the different coverage types. You also want to know about deductibles and out-of-pocket maximums. So, but yeah, as far as insurance policies and coverage go, this is the main thing. And everything I'm going to list here are the things that I really focused on, but there is more than this that you need to know in general, and it's very important that you read the course material for this class because it does seem like of the classes that I've taken so far, this is definitely the one that took the most time out of my day. I'm only in the first semester, but my first two classes I breezed through, and even the fourth class I actually just finished it yesterday. It took me one day. But this class took me a little bit longer, specifically because I'm not great with math and I did not know a whole lot about insurance and that kind of stuff going into it. So I really had to study for this one. So if you're kind of having trouble with this one, hopefully this will help you. So the next thing we're going to talk about is calculating assets, debts, and liabilities. So you want to know debt to income ratio. You want to know how to calculate these things, debt to asset ratio. You want to know what variable versus fixed expenses look like. You want to know what gross versus net income is. You're going to see things where it says, this person has, $1,000 in fixed income. And so, yeah, all of this is very important, especially for the math sections, because a lot of the math in here has to do with these kind of asset calculations. The next formulas. So some formulas you want to know, obviously the debt to income, debt to asset, pretty easy. Some other ones you want to look at maybe is future value, payoff time, and the co-insurance formula. I do have an easier way to understand payoff time. This is something that I found out you can do on a calculator. And to me, it made things easier for me. So I'm gonna give you guys a quick example just to show you. So payoff time, essentially what you're looking for is, let's say you have a $10,000 loan and you want to figure out how long it's going to take the person to pay it off. So, if you have an 18% interest rate that compounds monthly. So I'm going to show you guys real quick how to do a question like that, because learning this helped me so much. Okay, so we've got a $10,000 loan that needs to be paid, right? So we're going to click enter. Okay, we've got the 10,000 there. And then we're going to do plus 10,000, which is how much the loan is, multiplied by the rate. Now our rate is 18% compounded monthly. So what we have to do is we have to take 18% and divide it by 12. So 18% is 0.18. So divided by 12 would be 0.015. Okay. Now what we're going to do is subtract the monthly payment. And so let's say this person is trying to pay off their debt and they're paying off $1,500 every month. And so now the question, for example, might be, how many months is it going to take for them to pay this off? And so this is the easiest way that I found to do it. So you're going to subtract $1,500 for their monthly payment. And you're going to hit enter. So now what this shows you is that after 1 month, this is how much they've got left. Now, instead of repeating that same formula or trying to memorize a bigger formula for payoff time, this is what you can do. You go back to this, you hit enter twice, now it's 2 months. You go back again, hit enter twice, 3 months. Go back again, hit enter twice, and so on. And you keep doing that until the balance reaches 0. Okay, and you can see here we are now in the negatives, which means we have paid off our loan. So now what we can do is we can look up how many months that took. So let's start at 10,000. So it took us 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 months. So the answer to this one would be it will take them 8 months to pay off the loan. So that's just a quick example of a payoff time calculation that made it simpler for me to understand. Concepts to understand: you need to know what mutual funds are, you need to know what stocks, bonds, CDs, and treasuries are. You need to know what a money market account is. And yeah, a lot of these are going to be based around stocks, money markets, bank accounts, that kind of stuff. Property ownership. You want to know the different types of property ownership. You want to know shared property ownership, which states have that. You want to know about wills, trusts, and probates. You want to understand the difference between principal, you want to understand interest, and you want to understand interest rates. Home ownership versus renting. This has to do with the cost of home ownership versus the cost of renting. You got to understand mortgages, investor risk tolerance. So, some people might be more aggressive, they're willing to take more risks. So what would you say those people should invest in versus someone who's looking for low risk? And then finally, another big thing I would look at is 401ks, IRAs, 403bs, and Social Security. You need to know what kind of companies use a 401k versus what kind of companies use a 403b. You need to understand what an IRA is, and you need to understand Social Security benefits, when they kick in and who they kick in for and what qualifications you need for them to kick in. Finally, I would drop these 2 tips. In this class, I took the pre-assessment 4 times. And the reason for that was I wanted to be very, very, very prepared. I am not the best with math, so it did take me longer than it might take you guys to get through this, but taking the pre-assessment 4 times made me feel super confident that I was going to pass the final exam. I think on my first pre-assessment, I only took it like half of it because it was so long. I did not expect it to take 2+ hours the first time I took it. Second time I took it, I finished it all the way through, but I did not do good. Third time I took it, I met all the standards, but I still did not feel confident in some areas. And then finally, last time I took it, I got exemplary across the board. So at that point, I was like, okay, now I feel ready. And one thing that I would say that also helped me was take the quiz at the end of each subchapter. So when you open up the course material, it's going to say, section 1, section 2, section 3. There's a little drop down button and you're going to see 1.1, 1.2, 1.3. And so basically for each of those subchapters, they're going to have a little short quiz. And in my opinion, those quizzes were very important to me. I felt like they had a lot of good information. I felt like they showed my weaknesses, because if I read through a chapter, sometimes I didn't read the whole thing. I like briskly would, look at it a little bit and then take the quiz to see how good I was at the subject. And sometimes it would humble me and I would get, like a 50. I would miss half the question. So now I would write that section down and basically go back and read that whole section, because now I know I'm weak in this. Versus some sections, I felt confident, I didn't even read it, and I took the quiz and I got like a 90. And so I didn't waste my time reading through stuff that I already had pretty good knowledge on. So yeah, I hope this helps you out, and best of luck to you.